Vanity Fair. It's Vanity Fair.
What? Vanity Fair.
So I'm going to be talking about Shakespeare Theater's production of Vanity Fair. I think the overall thing is I really liked the show. It was a really well done show. One of the biggest things I liked about it was the awareness that the show had for, as to like what the audience was thinking at any given moment in the play. It really knew exactly what it was doing in every aspect. One of the characters, who throughout the play, she was like obsessed with this man who was not treated her badly, and throughout the whole thing, I was thinking like she needs to get out of this relationship. I didn't think she was being smart, and I wanted for her to realize that throughout the whole play. And the thing was, the show knew that. They took these like stereotypes that they assigned to the characters, not exactly stereotypes, but kind of character traits, and they made them so much more complex through the use of like fourth wall breaks. She turned to the audience at one point in the play and was kind of just like, I know that you think that I'm stupid, and I know that you think that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying my best, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do in the world. I'm just trying to make everybody happy, and I don't want to disappoint anybody. And I thought that was really good because it kind of just touched on exactly what I was thinking. It was really deep. It had a really good message. It had a lot of separate different messages, but they were all really good because it took these... Vanity Fair could have been a very shallow and very normal play about the 18th century. It could have been just a woman rising to the top and another woman trying to make her own family. But it wasn't. It was a really good study of these characters more than anything else, because it delved upon their complexities more and more throughout the play. And by the time it was over, you kind of knew them, and you knew who they were, and you knew what their goals were. They also did this well through the character of the stage manager, like the ringleader, I guess, kind of guy he wore like a tailcoat and a top hat. And he was in charge of the whole thing. He broke the fourth wall consistently throughout the thing. The way that the stage was set up was really minimalistic, but it offered a lot of room for like creativity. And they had like the panels that they brought out with different backgrounds on them to show different scenes and stuff. And that was really good. There was the door in the back that kept opening, and characters came out. It added depth to like the world of that the play had created upon the stage. The acting was great. The acting was really good. I wish I had the names of the actors here, but I don't know them. It was a really small cast, and that made it so that they all had to take on different roles.
Intermission.
Do 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 do.
Vanity Fair. I don't know. I just get it.
So yeah, the actresses that played Becky Sharp and Amelia were both exceptional in their roles because they took the complexity of the characters to another point that made them much more interesting to the audience than the one-note kind of stereotypical elitist rich girl, and then the scrappy young kind of orphan girl who wants to make it to the top. And that was really good.
I think one thing that's interesting is like how they have the same actors, yet they still portray like tons of other characters while also keeping people like understanding.
Yeah.
Like you're not confused who's who. You know who everybody is. Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting, and I think that's really hard to do, especially when you're breaking the fourth wall. You know what I mean? You're talking to people. You're 8 million characters. It's pretty interesting.
Never seen the play.
Okay, that was so rude.
I know this is going to sound really stupid, but they gave the two main characters, a very happy ending. They gave them very happy endings, and that kind of tied things up too nicely.
It's like, it doesn't really fit with the theme, I think. And the difference is if it didn't feel good to you, then it probably wasn't good. You know what I mean? Because there's sometimes you want a happy ending, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's not needed, and sometimes it's like, it feels like it doesn't fit.
Another thing I thought was really good about the play was the relationships that the characters had with each other. Like, the relationship with Becky and Amelia throughout the whole play was kind of estranged. Like, you come into it thinking this is supposed to be two women against the world in like the 1800s, rising to the top of like the patriarchal, like industrialized and like economy, but it's not.
But that's like real though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
like,
good. It was a
lot
real
of friends.
Yeah, it was a real depiction of friendship back then, probably. Like it wasn't. It was never. Yeah, it was a real good depiction of relationships. Even there was the comparison between the relationship of Becky and her husband, and also Amelia and George was really good because neither of them were perfect, and especially the whole. It really was able to touch on a lot of things in our own modern day world that was like single mother. Really good how it shifted. Like at the beginning, Amelia was at the top and Becky was at the bottom, and then they kind of switched. They went that Becky was at the top of, you know, the economy with her husband, and Amelia was kind of poor. She didn't have anything and she was just trying to raise her son, but then at the end it kind of came back together and it all balanced out. And the reason in the way that it showed this was at the Vanity Fair. It began and it ended at the Vanity Fair. And that was really good paralleling, and it all kind of wrapped up things in this little world that it started and it ended with the Vanity Fair. So like the Vanity Fair itself was a definitive bookends to the story. It started and it ended with it, all wrapped it up nicely, but there was still like things. And that's why it started with, this is a production, what you're seeing is theater. And that's why the character of the stage manager was so present at the whole thing. This is not life. It is life, but it's life on stage. It's in this little world, and Vanity Fair helps to define that in the play. So overall, I thought the play was amazing, actually. I mean, I think that the biggest lesson in this play is, the lesson that it tries to tell people is to not take things for granted, I guess. The relationships that you have with other people. It kind of taught you not to judge a book by its cover. That's a very simple lesson, but it was kind of true. There's always something going on in somebody else's life that you don't know about, and they're always struggling with something that you can't understand. So that was really nice. So yeah, go see Shakespeare's Theater's production of Vanity Fair, and that's all, folks.